Jesus. Wow. Okay, so welcome back to Chris Chat CFC. We are doing the review for the Wrexham versus Chelsea game, which has just finished a bit later than what I was expecting, really, but it is what it is. It was Wrexham 2, Chelsea 4. It was a very, very difficult game, I think. We definitely made a meal of it. All right. Let's start with the first half, shall we? And straight away, the atmosphere was brilliant from the first minute. You could really feel it in the stadium, and I think the players felt that too. Chelsea started the game trying to control the tempo and dominate the possession, but early on there was a few misplaced passes creeping in, and you could tell that was definitely something that we needed to be careful of, because they could definitely counter us, and that's exactly what they did. Around the 11th minute, there wasn't really much going on in terms of chances, but there was a nice bit of hold-up play from Liam Delap, I thought. He does really well, and he turns his man on the half-turn and plays it out wide to Pedro Neto. Neto tries to cut inside, but he takes too many touches, he loses the ball, and then he appeals for a foul, but it never really looked like one at all. And a little bit later on in the game, I think the big moment of the half, which I did say in my video yesterday that I did think we'd go 1-0 down. And what happened? Chelsea go 1-0 down. It was a really simple at the top. Benoit Badia's shield, man. Oh, mate. Yeah, he slows it down. He slows down his pace. He thinks that Robert Sanchez is going to come and get it. But, I mean, even if you think your goalkeeper's coming to get it, you still follow your man until you either clatter into your goalkeeper or you clear that. And he did not do that. Sanchez doesn't come, to my surprise. And Smith gets there and he calmly slots it past Robert Sanchez, which then makes it 1-0 to Wrexham. It did go to VAR for a quick check. I think it was a check for offside, but it wasn't offside, and VAR quickly cleared that. So the goal stood, and just like that, Chelsea are 1-0 down. The atmosphere there is rocking, and the more important question is how is Chelsea going to respond to this? A few minutes later, we didn't really respond. The first yellow card of the game. And that is, of course, to a Chelsea player. That's down to Romeo Lavia. He gets turned. He ends up flat-footed. And he has no real option other than to pull the player down, stop the attack. And then really, from that point, Wrexham starts to sit back and they let Chelsea have more of the ball. But even with that possession, Chelsea just couldn't find any real fluency going forward. And throughout the game, I thought away. In the 28th minute, I think Chelsea actually got caught short again at the back, which did happen many times tonight. Another through ball finds Sam Smith, and this did look very dangerous, actually. He cuts inside, and he does lose his balance, which was a massive let-off, because basically he's going through, facing up Tosin Adarabioyo. And if he stays on his feet there, he is definitely getting past Tosin, and he is probably slotting that past Sanchez. So definitely got away with that one there, I think. Wrexham didn't have loads of the ball, I thought, but they were overall managing to get the shots away. They even won the first corner of the game, although it didn't really lead to anything at all. It was cleared at the back post, I believe. Chelsea on their own, they were really poor going forward, weren't they? For most of the half. In fact, I think we only had one shot, and it wasn't even on target until the 40th minute. And that's just not good enough at all. At all, especially for a Premier League side playing a Championship team. Then finally something does happen. Liam Delap actually wakes up. He picks the ball up around the halfway line. He shows great strength, I think. He turns his man and drives forward. He then plays a lovely pass out wide to Garnacho, who then cuts inside and takes the first shot. The shot gets blocked right on the line, but it does ricochet off the defender, and then it does hit the keeper and go into the back of the net. I mean, look, it's not pretty, but we'll take it. So, yep, Wrexham won, Chelsea won. That's it, really, for that half. I mean, there's nothing else really to say apart from the overall thought of the Chelsea half was, we've had to go into the break at 1-1, and need a serious team talk at half time. I need to come back out fighting and really, really pushing the intensity up. I mean, I say that, with the intensity in that, I weren't really that surprised, if I'm honest with you. I mean, there was 9 changes to the starting lineup, and that just is going to knock every little bit of fluency that the team have. I mean, these players don't really play often in training, but in game they don't. So I wasn't really expecting anything else. But I'm glad that we did get a goal just before half time, and that put us level pegging, ready for us to come out in the second half. So, moving on to the second half, both teams came out unchanged. There was no subs at half time. Uh, First 5 minutes, Wrexham, sorry, they actually looked like they were the hungrier side. They looked like they came out and they wanted it a lot more, which usually Chelsea do come out and give you a little glimmer of hope and then something happens. But it was actually Wrexham who came out and looked like they had much more energy, and they wanted that second goal more than Chelsea did. About 10 minutes into the half, you could still see clearly that there was no natural connection between any of those Chelsea players that were starting tonight. The team just didn't look like they had any real rhythm, and I thought this is definitely going to be a struggle to get over the line. And to be fair, I mean, that's something that I was worried about before the game. I was hoping Liam Rosenior wouldn't tinker too much in the lineup. I did make a reference to that in my last video as well. But his hands were tied a little bit because we do go to the Parc des Princes on Wednesday and we do face PSG. He's got to rest as many of his big guns as he can. But yeah, I mean, it was a bit of a struggle, and I thought at some point we were going to have to get some big guns on, which later proved that we did. So in the 56th, Rosenior made his first change. Mamadou Sarr, who in my last video I referred to him as Malang Sarr, and I mean, yeah, if you ask Pochettino who Malang Sarr is, he would just go, "Who?" But yeah, so Mamadou Sarr come off and Mark Yu came on, so it gave us another attacking threat, which I was glad about actually. That it wasn't João Pedro early on. And I think it was a move to try and give Liam Delap some bit of help up the top there, because he had looked pretty isolated during the whole game, to be honest. And then in the 59th minute, we saw something that Chelsea fans have fortunately seen quite a lot, and that is Robert Sanchez showing his vulnerability. We can now see why Liam Rosenior gave him a bit of a break at Aston Villa. Jorgensen doing quite well. I think that might have unsettled him a little bit more. And going into this game, it clearly showed because he did show some vulnerability tonight. He tries to play a short pass out from the back to Andre Santos, who gets caught on the ball, and it almost leads to a goal for Wrexham. Yeah, it definitely was another moment where you just feel Chelsea are making life real difficult for themselves. And you just think, how long can this go on for? There was also a quick VAR check for a possible handball in the Chelsea box, but that was clearly cleared fairly quickly. A few minutes later, Chelsea actually had a nice moment going forward. Jarell Hato gets a ball near the corner flag. He turns his man brilliantly, and he lays it off to Pedro Neto. And then Neto does a lovely little turn, and it does to Hato, and he knocks it just wide of the post. So that was a very close call. I think Jarell Hato done okay today, actually. I think he had a very good game. And then the 63rd minute, we saw a couple more substitutions from Chelsea. Romeo Lavia, who was making his return, he come off and he completed 63 minutes, which I think is absolutely fantastic. I'm really happy that he did get that. I was expecting 45, but I'm glad he was able to survive 63 minutes. Let's hope he goes into training tomorrow, and there's no little knocks or niggles that's going to keep him out for a long time, I think. And then he was replaced by another returning player, Dario Asugo, who we haven't seen, I don't think, since the start of the season. So it was really nice to see him come on. And at the same time, Hato come off for Mark Cucurella, which was pretty straightforward. They were like for like changes. So the half went on. Wrexham still looked the more dangerous side. Honestly, at times it felt like it did feel like Chelsea were hanging on for dear life. And then by the 72nd minute, the game started to really open up. I feel seeing Possin and Badia Shield in the lineup doesn't fill me with confidence at all. And then we just go on to show why. In the 78th minute, Wrexham they get their reward. A poor corner initially gets cleared, but the ball falls to the edge of the box and it is smashed on a half volley. And Doyle gets a slight flick, a very clever flick on it, which leaves Sanchez absolutely no chance. And suddenly Wrexham are 2-1 up. But to Chelsea's credit, they actually do respond straight away, which I was thinking we've got to. We really have got to. Otherwise, Wrexham will just sit back the later the game goes on and try and hold out for that 2-1 win. Andre Santos, he wins the ball back brilliantly, I feel. Plays a great pass through to Josh Achimpong, who again does brilliantly. He battles his defender around his defender, and where does he hit it? He smacks it into the roof of the net, which draws Chelsea back to 2-2. And yeah, just like that, the game is back on. So in the 85th minute, I mean, there's more changes for Chelsea as Liam Delap came off, and to be honest, he'd been pretty poor and quiet for most of the game, and he was replaced by probably the Premier League's most informed striker in João Pedro. Malo Gusto also came on to replace the goalscorer, Josh Achimpong. I mean, even at that stage, though, Wrexham still looked like they could nick the game, I think. It felt like more like Chelsea's defence frailties than Wrexham creating loads of high qualities. I think every time they went forward, I was in fear that we would actually concede to the poor frailties at the back. Then, out of nowhere, João Pedro shows exactly why he's been in such good form. He turns his man brilliantly and plays a perfect weighted pass to Garnacho, who fires a ball across the box to Neto. Neto catches it absolutely sweetly, and he kisses the crossbar, and it rattles back out. So there was a close call for Wrexham, and yeah, it could have given us the opportunity to 3-2 up. So full time, we go to extra time, and this is where things really start to get dramatic, I feel. Garnacho gets away from his man and is completely wiped out from Jules Dobson. The referee initially shows a yellow card, but after a VAR review, which I think it was pretty obvious, and they even showed it to him in real time, the referee, just so he could see the impact in full motion. It was no question that it was definitely upgraded to a red card. So I think that was quite cool there. I'm glad that Garnacho came out unscathed, because that could have been quite a nasty one, I think. Then, yeah, Chelsea have 6 minutes with an extra man in. The big question is, can they take advantage? Chelsea push bodies forward, but they still can't break through the Wrexham defence, and the game goes into extra time. So we go into extra time, and finally the extra man starts to make a difference. At that point, the question comes, can Chelsea finally see the game out? It's not quite that simple, really. Wrexham win the corner, and the ball gets flicked across by Moore, which finds Brunt for what looked like a simple tap-in. But VAR steps in again, and the goal is ruled offside. It's a huge moment, and I'm glad that VAR was there, because obviously it showed that he was offside and the goal shouldn't have counted, and it didn't count. Even after that, though, Chelsea couldn't really fully get control of the game. Every time Wrexham attacked, it felt like they could score, I feel. But then João Pedro shows a brilliant moment and shows why he was brought on, just to make that difference. He picks the ball up and he drives into the box completely unchallenged, and he finishes it brilliantly to make it 4-2 to Chelsea. And yeah, that's the game, really. Full time, Wrexham 2, Chelsea 4. So the conclusion on that game, I've said it already, with 9 changes going into the starting lineup, I always felt like it was going to be a tough one. Chelsea never really fully took control of the game, and a lot of that came down to the lack of chemistry between the players. They all don't play together quite a lot. I mean, we was able to get away with it in the Conference League last year, but this season you can in some of the games. I mean, Hull and Charlton, but after this we can't do that anymore, I don't feel. I hope this is the last time that Rossini does rotate this team heavily, because we are now heading into the business end of the season. It wasn't a convincing performance at all. I think that's what I expected with the starting lineup, but I'm glad we got the job done. A Chelsea win, brilliant. But at the same time, credit to Wrexham. I think they done brilliant. They looked deadly every time they were going to go on the attack. They looked like they were going to do something, and they really played to our weaknesses, I think. They did put up a serious fight, and I think a much tougher game than we expected. They are sitting 6th in the Championship, and they are pushing for the playoffs. So I'm pretty sure we might see them in the Premier League next season, which I think would be 2 great games. So that is the review for Wrexham versus Chelsea. We are through to the quarterfinals. It was a tough one. It's ended up being a late one because we went through to extra time. I'm glad we did not go through to penalties. That would have been really rocky moment, I think. But yeah, we went through. We got it done. And now we must rest up and get ready to travel to France on Wednesday. So yeah, hit like and subscribe and put the notification bell on. Please feel free to leave anything in the comments, and we'll be back for a preview for the PSG game on Tuesday, I believe. So yeah, thank you very much.